Hello YouTube. Today I will be showing you how to replace the water pump on your General Motors 3100 or 3400 V6 or a high value V6. Really any of the GM V6s that weren't put in trucks, or not the Buick V6 from the early 2000s. For this video I will be doing it on a 2005 Buick Century, but you can find this engine in Luminas, you can find it in the minivans, you can find it in the Oldsmobile Alero, you can find it in Impalas, there's a lot of cars they put this in. Anyhow, this will be a very straightforward video as your water pump is right there. And it is easy to install and reinstall, but I'll walk you through the processes, and I will tell you what size bolts you need to undo. Got the socket set there, got the ratchet there. Alright, well, without further ado, let's get started. Now the first bolt you're going to want to remove is right there. That holds this piece on that shows you the belt routing. Now this isn't entirely required, but as this wire loom is attached to it, it's recommended so you can get it out of your way and have an easier space to work in. That bolt will be 110mm. So now we have that off. But guys, I cannot stress this enough. Always keep track of your bolts. Have a place to put them. I recommend a magnetic tray, although I can't find mine right now. Always keep track of your bolts. I'm using this old, I think that's a water pump pulley. Anyhow, now that you've got that out, you should be able to scoot that out of your way. And now you have more workspace. Now what we're going to do is we're going to loosen all the water pump pulley bolts while the belt is attached to it. Because if it is not attached to it, I mean, you could technically get a wrench on one and you could, pry them opposite directions, but that's too much work. We're just going to loosen them. Are we? Guess not. Alright, so I have found a solution to the problem that I was having with my water pump pulley bolts. So, you guys see that? I don't know. So what I'll do is I'll just demonstrate. I will get a pry bar like this, or in this case flathead screwdriver, and I'll wedge it between those two bolts like so, and then I will get my ratchet on the bolt I want to remove, and then break it loose while pushing in the opposite direction with that screwdriver, and that will keep the pulley steady so I can remove the bolts. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove the rest of these. I would position my phone somehow, but I can't find a good spot. I should get a tripod or something so I can film these things better. Alright, I've gotten all three 10mm nuts, forgot to mention that earlier, on the water pump pulley, or no, these are bolts, off. So we will remove all four of these after you break them loose. Then after that, our pulley should, guess not. Oh, who am I kidding? We have to get the belt off. Alright, so now we want to get in there and loosen that bolt on the tensioner. Alright, so to make getting to that tensioner down there easier, I'm going to remove the two 10mm nuts holding in the coolant overflow tank. Let's see if this one's just as loose. Oh yeah, it is. Could I just... nah, I can't. So remove these nuts, and then I'm not sure if it's the same on all cars equipped with this engine, but then your coolant overflow tank should come right out. Just that one out too. Give it a tug. There we are. Now just set this aside someplace. Alright, so it turns out you just need the head of a 3/8 drive or an adapter. I was trying to finagle a 15mm onto the bolt that holds the tensioner on down there. However, I haven't worked on a car this new before. Worked on stuff like that. Turns out all that you need to do is there's a hole that fits the head of a ratchet in the tensioner right here. There's like a slot. Then you just push down. And then that relieves the tension off the belt. No, that's just snugging it up. Do I pull up? Flip the... Come on, let me flip the ratchet over. Let me... there we go. Perhaps it's this. No, I'm never getting that back in there again, am I? Hold on. I dropped the flashlight, but I got this bit on now, so looks like I just... yes, that's how I do it. And then I can get the belt off. Okay, I've slid the belt off this pulley here. All the bolts are out. Maybe I just have to give it a bit of a pry. Where's my screwdriver? I do not recall where I placed my screwdriver. I will get another one and find that later. Never mind. It's right here. Just give it a... yeah, there we go. Okay, so now that you have your pulley off, I want to take a moment and clean up all that grit and such you find there with a wire brush or what have you, and give it a spray down with some brake clean. That way you don't have an imbalanced pulley. This one actually isn't that bad. This one looks pretty clean. But in here and such, just get all that grime off, because an imbalanced pulley can lead to premature water pump failure. Although this one's pretty mature. This car has 204K on it, or about 125,000 miles. And that looks original, so. Alright, set that aside. Hey, I'm using a water pump pulley to store my bolts. Another water pump pulley. You've got your pulley off, you're going to want to undo, I believe it's 5 8mm bolts. Be ready to catch any water that'll fall once you get the pump off. Alright, so there's 5 bolts. There's one here, one right here, one down here, and one right here. And man, this thing's shot. But once you've got those 5 bolts out, they're 8mm bolts, get ready with a catch can underneath this to catch any water that may leak out. And yeah, try not to get it on everything down there. Or don't. I can't tell you what to do, I'm not your dad. And you may have to stick a pry bar in there to get that old pump off. Alright, so I can't find a catch can that'll fit there. I put my old drain pan underneath the car. Maybe able to see it right there. But now just take your screwdriver and man. Oh, that's on there. Loosen it up a bit. Break the pump off. Whoa, look at all that falling from it. It's been in there a while. Didn't miss any bolts, did I? No? This thing's just real stuck on there. Just gonna have to keep tapping this with a hammer until it breaks free, I guess. I've just accepted that there's gonna be a mountain of coolant everywhere, so just nice. This smells awful. There's the old water pump. Now to unbox the new one and prepare the surface for the fresh gasket. Always be sure to scrape off all the old gasket material so you get a good seal. Now to remove all the old gasket material, grab yourself a razor blade. I've done most of it already, but you just want to press, make sure not to gouge the block, like the mating surface, but just get all, or as much as you can, the old gasket off of there. That way it won't leak. It won't leak or nothing. Now, some of the stuff's real stuck on, and I can't get all of it off. But that looks good for a new water pump. You can get all the little bits that fall in out of there, because you don't want that in your coolant. That there. Get all that out. Now it is time for the new water pump. There's TSB on this, and they changed the impeller design. Doesn't mean anything. That's the one I took off. But on the older V6s, that might be what it looks like. There's a new one. But this is the last year they made these engines. This is a 2005, so I mean, probably changed it right before it went out of production. Now it's time to get the new one on. Now that you're certain that your gasket mating surface and your impeller cavity have as much gasket as you can remove off of them, now it's time to get the new water pump installed. Now the installation is virtually impossible to mess up. Just get your gasket on there. Use some gasket sealer, although I don't have any, and I'm broke, so I can't RTV it. And then just push the water pump in there and thread a couple bolts in so it doesn't fall off. And then tighten them in sequence. Now torque the bolts in sequence to 18 foot-pounds or 216 inch-pounds. Any day now. Whatever. This torque wrench is toast anyways. Clean the pulley off with some brake cleaner. That's it for a minute. Now it's ready to be reinstalled. Now, upon reinstalling your pulley, you're going to want to lift up on the tensioner, route that belt right there over your power steering pump and beneath the water pump, as instructed on the belt routing thing there. Now, I need two hands, so I can't film with one hand, so yeah. Now reinstall your overflow tank. These bolts were incredibly loose before, so that should do fine. Grab the clip for this. Put that on top up there. And I assume you set this by just squeezing on it, like, or maybe you twist it, or how do you deal with that? I got it off with a screwdriver. I don't know, it feels fine. As for this clip, you just snap it back in with your hands. Now for the final step, you want to put this little plate here, the belt routing diagram, back into place. So just line up that hole right there. My camera would focus, and put our final bolt back in. Now with that bolt hooked up, as you can see, we're good to clear our workstation, which in my case was the intake manifold. All that. Set that aside. Brake clean out of there. Set this all here for the moment. And the light. Set that there in the water pump box. Now we are to refill the system with coolant. Also, I should mention, what you should do is prior to this, drain it all out, then refill it with fresh Dex Cool and distilled water. Or, actually, yeah, that's the only thing you should do. In my case, I'm currently broke, so I have to reuse the old rusty stuff. Which you shouldn't do, but I kind of have no choice. Got it in this washer bottle, and there's more in the drain pan down there. Just go ahead and refill it up at the rad. Now you need to burp the system. There are two coolant air release valves or whatever. One is located on the thermostat bypass tube, and one is located just at the upper rad hose here. So what you want to do, you want to crack these open with a 7mm. And let them breathe. Is this one also a 7mm? Yeah, it is. Just gonna wanna pop this in there. Sorry, my phone's being finicky. It cut off. Crack them both open. Oh no. Oh no. I'll be searching for a while. Alright, I've given up on trying to find that stupid bolt. And I just found a screw that fits. Put that in there. Well, not a screw, it's a... Yeah, it's a screw. Yeah. Maybe I'll find the proper bolt someday, but I really don't care. So this has been refilled with the proper coolant, and don't do that, but just like that, your Chevy 60-degree V6 now has a brand new water pump. Now, you know, check for leaks obviously and what have you. I don't think it's leaking. It's raining, so I can't really tell, but yeah, hope y'all have a good day.